I don't like how elemental debuffs are seemingly being handled in Wuthering Waves. Before we begin, I'd like to preface that this video is not about the elemental debuffs themselves, but how I feel like it's being utilized by Kuro Games in a seemingly predatory way. This video is also not discussing anything about meta, as it's not really relevant to the discussion, and it's purely about my personal view on how Kuro Games is currently handling Wuthering Waves' elemental debuffs and how this can affect the average player. Let's first start off with the overall impression of elemental debuffs, the most common being that the elemental debuffs themselves don't do much damage or provides little to no benefit. Keep this in mind as this will be important later. Now let's look at Zani. Her kit is based around Blaze, and the efficiency at which you accumulate Blaze will affect how long she'll stay in her Berserk form and how much personal DPS she can do. Blaze caps at 100 stacks prior to her liberation, which then becomes 150, but Zani herself gives you 50. To obtain Blaze, you either need to max her Forte to get 10 Blaze, or inflict Spectro Frazzle, where each stack gives 5 Blaze. For your information, there are currently 2 and soon 3 Spectro Frazzle applicators: Spectro Rover, Phoebe, and Shakona. All of this is fine, but the elephant in the room here is that Zani herself cannot inflict Spectro Frazzle and would need a considerably larger amount of time accumulating Blaze in order to max it out on her own. This is where the problem comes in. It's not even about whether or not Zani is still good or not on her own, or if her DPS is still good or not on her own. It's about how the introduction of elemental debuffs seem to artificially add restrictions to an otherwise great and fun kit. Let's say Zani is your favorite character. If you were to compare Zani with Frazzle support and Zani without Frazzle support, you will notice a stark difference in gameplay. Without Frazzle, you either spend more time getting Blaze or have a considerably shorter ult form, which is arguably the best part of Zani's kit. With Frazzle, you spend less time getting Blaze and have a longer ult form. Now, you feel like you are being encouraged, quote unquote, to use/pull certain characters because in this case, the premium 5-star support makes the Blaze issue disappear. But what if you don't like any of them, including the premium 5-star support? Are we supposed to accept that your favorite character is now arguably less fun because of this? Imagine if Zani wasn't restricted by Spectro Frazzle and was balanced around that fact. She would now be able to provide the player with a consistent gameplay loop regardless of team composition. The rate of Blaze stacks being gained is no longer affected by external factors, and you won't feel bad for only pulling for characters you like. As elemental debuffs don't do much in the first place, not having it to begin with won't affect her at all. There are probably arguments coming in at about this point, mentioning characters such as Changli and Jinxie and how they are also affected based on your team. Now, the main difference between these two and Zani is that Zani's gameplay is affected based on their team, whereas Changli's and Jinxie's core gameplay are unaffected based on their team. So in this case, Changli can still quick swap the same way on any comp, and Jinxie will have the same gameplay on any comp, just with potentially less stacks. Now you can say that Zani will also have potentially less stacks, but the difference here is that Zani's gameplay is affected by having a shorter liberation form. To summarize this portion of the conversation with Changli and Jinxie, it seems that every DPS character so far that is unreliant on elemental debuffs are supported simply by increasing their damage. And it seems that every DPS character so far that is reliant on elemental debuffs are supported via both increased damage as well as elemental debuff application. With this summary, I hope you can see where I'm trying to go with this conversation with how elemental debuff is affecting new characters. Now, whilst Zani and Phoebe, the DPS version, are currently the only examples of this so far, the upcoming release of Shakona, whose kit seems to be a supporting role, does not seem to provide good implications of the upcoming Aero DPS, and we might get another character added to this list soon. To summarize this video, as elemental debuffs provide little to no significance in overall DPS, I believe that this seems to imply that this system as a whole is just being used as a means as a tool by Kuro Games to create characters with artificial restrictions which provide inconveniences to players if they do not pull the premium 5-star option, encouraging players to pull a second character on top of their initial target. I hope this video explains my point well, and hopefully you understand where I'm coming from. If you do have any questions, please let me know down in the comments below. It's been your boy Nitrostorm. I'll see you guys in the next stream or video. Peace.